Everybody, please let me know if you can hear me okay by raising your hand with the little man at the top of the screen. Also, if you have not played with that little tool there before, there is the ability in that drop down that you can tell me to speak louder or speak slower or speed up, or you can laugh or applaud. I love that little button because it lets me know what's going on in the screen. Today, we're going to be talking about Optimal Resume, the tool that runs the Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder. And I don't know, some of you have probably heard me talk about this before, but I love this resume building tool. It is phenomenal. As some people might say, it's the cat's meow. But it is something that you do need to learn how to use a little bit, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to close these polls up, and I'm going to keep a couple of them over on the side because I want to come back to this, especially this big one with what tool are you actually using. Look at this number right here. 77 people that have answered this question are using Microsoft Word to build a resume. 38 people are using Winway, and then other people, 31 other people have answered that they're using another tool. So if you wouldn't mind, in the chat pod, please type the tool it is that you are using to build those resumes. All right, I'm going to move this pod out of the way, and we're going to bring it back out in a little bit later. So what I want to do today is I want to talk about, real briefly, we're going to do the presentation here, and we're going to talk about how to make an optimal first impression. And that is what we have here that we're going to be talking about. So as we're moving forward in this presentation, it's really easy to access your account. All you have to do is log in to Illinois WorkNet. And to get an Illinois WorkNet account, it's free. Everybody that is working with our special program, and welcome to all of our EPIC participants today. And we have some DHS guests on the call today, as well as the normal audience that comes to this 10 o'clock webinar. But all you have to do is log into your Illinois WorkNet account, as you can see by the arrow right here. Put in your username and password, and then from your dashboard, you can either get to the resumes, you can go to your profile, or you can click on the resume little button from the dashboard drop-down that pops up. And then you can get to your resume account. So that screen shows you a couple of different ways for you to use that tool. Once you're in your account and you click on the resume builder, you see the whole document center. And from the document center, you can access all the different parts of the tools. And there's some job search at the in the top menu. There's a calendar of optimal training events. There is account information where you can change the details of your personal account. So maybe you've changed industries, gotten some new training. Whatever it is there, then you can change those things. And then you can also contact Optimal Resume. Talking about the tools, most people would think that you go to a resume first to build the resume, but what I like to do when I'm helping people through this tool is have them go to the assessments first. It gives them the ability to do 3 different tools on the on the resume builder tool as it is. You can do a skills inventory, you can create an accomplishment sheet, you can create a proficiency list, and all of those offer different pieces based on the industries that you enter. And then you can add snippets to provide brief examples of each of those things under the skills especially. And what's really good about this is as we move further into the tool, those brief examples can pop up in that online resume version. So this is just hands down the best resume tool I've ever seen. You can build portfolios, and what you can do is compile that portfolio. And most people think that portfolios are for artistic type kind of people, but maybe you're a welder and you've got some pictures of welding spots that you've done. And I know there's different things that you have to submit to the AWS, and there's different things that you might need to show for CNA or nursing. Maybe you've done a beautiful dressing, or maybe you're putting in stitches, whatever it is that you're doing, and you've got pictures. Maybe you've created some beautiful spreadsheets as an accountant. And if you're not sharing proprietary information, you can put all of those things in a portfolio. You can create more than one portfolio and create it by a job that you've had. Maybe you had another job that had a different set of things that you want to share, and or create it by a different project. Resumes, we finally get to the resumes. All of those pieces that we've already created will help you build a better resume. But one of the things that I like best about the resume tool in here is you can start from scratch. Nothing on the page, totally blank. You can upload an existing resume if you want to, but you cannot manipulate those existing resumes. You can use just headers, or there are just gobs of templates that you can access by industry and then by experience level. There's all of the editing tools. You can create style, format, there's spell check in there. It offers you tips and suggestions. If you can't quite think of a phrase, it's all there. Once you get a resume created, you can rename it. You can clone it, because everybody always says that you want to move into a new resume for each job that you're doing. So maybe you've got that perfect resume, but it's out of order based on the things that the job is asking for. So you can clone that first one and adapt the new one to that new job. Resume GPS, we're going to talk about in a minute. You can download it. You can share that resume. It gives you the ability to share by PDF, RTF, Word, all kinds of different things. You can preview it so that you can see how it's going to look when you print it. And maybe you need to check on some things, add things to your to-do list, and then you can also switch resumes. So maybe you update one particular resume, then you can go back and update the other ones that are in your cache of resumes. Letters. Now, we all know that we need to send follow-up letters, but how do you cast your net if you're doing just a test sample of sending out resumes to businesses that might not necessarily be there? So the functions in the resume tool are very similar. The functions in the letters tool are very similar to the resume. They give you all of the same WYSIWYG tools that are available in the resume format. There's 8 different types of letter with 3 different experience levels. Again, you can save, copy, and share based on any of those items that we had in the earlier section of the resumes. Video resume. Video resumes are the rage. Whenever I do a workshop on digital job search, we always go to YouTube and look for video resumes. Well, right here in the Resume Builder is a tool that can help you create, or help your customers create a video resume. It does require a webcam. It does not have to be an internal webcam. It can be an external one. It allows you to use a teleprompter or not. I tend to speak more freely if I know my topics, but have just rehearsed it better, because when I have the teleprompter, I tend to read it. And you don't want to read it, you want to talk. And then it lets you provide highlights in text of the different parts of your video resume. So there, that's me on the screen. If you haven't met me already, now you know me, right? websites. Part of the Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder tool is the ability for you to combine all of those different parts that you've already worked on and turn it into a website. Similar to LinkedIn, you've got that little piece where you are there, but it points out your portfolio, your resume, your skills that you've listed in that assessment tool. You get to pick the design, and you can reorder the way that the pages lay out. So it gives you that spot on the internet that you can direct people to in addition to your LinkedIn profile. And you can put this link on your LinkedIn profile as well. Now, this is one of my favorite tools. This tool allows you to practice interviewing. Now, we all say we do mock interviews, but having it with a person all the time can be time-intensive and cumbersome to try to get all of those people through the interview practice system. So this way, you can set your customers up in a booth, for example, and have them either listen only through headsets. You can have them do audio only, where they talk into a microphone. They listen and then talk into a microphone. Or you can do video and audio, where you have that same webcam that they did the video resume with. Then they can go in and listen to the question, speak their answer into the webcam as if they were talking to the person, and then hear themselves back. How many ums, uhs, thes, well, like, you know, so, that they say in their conversation, where it shows they're not necessarily comfortable in what they're sharing with their audience. There's 9 different types of interview questions that have 20 questions per interview session. And not only does it ask the question, but it gives you the ability to read what the appropriate answer would be. It gives you group, face-to-face, panels, those questions that they might ask you that they're not supposed to ask you. So all of this is all available in that interviewing section of the Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder tool. Resume GPS is an opt-in opportunity from the toolbar on the resume and I believe on the cover letters as well. But I've got it circled there on the screen so that you can see where the customer would find that resume GPS. Well, what this does is it allows the customer to fill in some more information, and people who are using resume, the optimal tool from the other end, the employer end, they can find those resumes on the resume GPS. But that's not the only place that you can share the resumes, because you can get a link and share that particular resume out anywhere else where it asks for a link to a resume. You can also print it off as a PDF, so that can be shared anywhere else as well. Now, through this tool on the Resume Builder tool, you can check for messages, you can check statistics of how many people have looked at your resume, and then there is the opportunity to look at online interview requests. These days, Skype interviews and Google Hangout interviews aren't so uncommon. So being able to be comfortable in front of that webcam and doing an online interview is very important for your customers these days. Customer access, group access. This is something that all WorkNet partners can create for their customers. And I'm going to show you all of this stuff live in just a moment or two. But one of the things that you can do as part of your partner tools is see what your customers are doing in Optimal Resume. Now, we have incorporated this into the Epic tool, so all of the people who are on our call today from Epic, you've got this ability, so that if you start using Optimal with your customers, you can see what they're doing in Optimal. You just have to access it through your customer groups. If you're not part of Epic, in Epic it's already in the customer's dashboard. So this is a great way for you to go in and create a customer group for your customers from your agency. And if you're curious about how to do this, Chelsea has already included in the file pod below the chat right there the way for you to invite customers to customer groups. Now, these are just some resources that are available on Illinois WorkNet. If you want to get to the whole page about resumes, all you have to do is go to illinoisworknet.com/resume. We have a YouTube playlist where I have broken down directions for each of these sections in video. So I've gone step by step and created pieces for the interview, for the website, for the skills and assessments, for the letters, for the resumes. I know I've forgotten something, but there's a YouTube video on each one of those. We also have written how-to instructions for each of the components of the Resume Builder tool. There's different examples of what kind of resume you might need to use, and based on age or experience, one of your customers might need a functional resume over a chronological resume, or maybe a combination resume would be best. There are links to useful articles about resumes and cover letters and practice interviews and all that kind of good stuff. Then we've got another link here. Chelsea, would you like to talk about the qualify articles?
Yeah, I went ahead and added a link to our articles page because Illinois WorkNet is constantly updating our site with new articles as either new information is added to our site or just new content is needed. And the qualified articles covers resumes, job skills, interviewing, and anything that is going to help your customers qualify for the job they want. And so I wanted to make sure that you had a link directly to that page for you and your customers. And so that'll have articles specifically about resumes, but it's also going to have articles about interviewing, like I indicated, and job skills, and any other thing within the qualify area of the Illinois WorkNet website.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea. One other thing that I'd like to show you as well is on Illinois WorkNet, there is a jobs tool, and this is just a small image here. We have this powered by Indeed, and what it does is gives you the job based on the keyword that you enter and a zip code that you enter, and then it will plot those jobs out on a map. And you can look at this in a grid format, a list format, and then on the map. And if you hover over the pin, it will show you which job it actually is. So this is a great way for people to find different jobs. And this compiles jobs from, Indeed compiles jobs from all different venues. So it will get them from from Career Builder, from Monster, from private entities. So Indeed is an aggregator, and so it pulls everything in that is out there on the internet so that you're not looking at just one source of job openings. The next link on here is for Explore Careers, and this is another fantastic tool that Illinois WorkNet has implemented in their overall set of resources for job seekers. And what this does is it lets you go to a career pathway, look up particular job information that will give you demographics on the growth potential for that position, as well as career wages and trends, which I love people to go look at. And both of this whole piece, the career wages and trends, is all part of our Employment 101 program that will help people back to the workforce after a long absence from it, or new workforce entries like maybe teenagers. Help them develop the sense of where they want to go and what they need to do once they get there. And then, Chelsea, also we have a link on here to access the customer groups that will have how-to instructions and how to access the information. So this is just a brief snippet of what we actually have out there available. What we want to do now is we want to go live, so that I'm going to bring over my screen share tool here, and I'm just going to drive through quickly. Please, if you have any questions about this as I am live on this, I will be happy to answer them for you, but because I'll be concentrating on another screen, Chelsea will have to either answer the questions in the chat pod for you, or will have to break in and ask me the question. So please feel free to type your questions in the chat pod. We're happy to answer those for you. Right here you see the Illinois WorkNet screen. And as you can see, all I have to do is sign up. It's a simple sign-up process. All they want to do is have you confirm an email address. So that's as hard as it gets. Once you're signed, yes.
If you don't mind, I wouldn't mind interjecting here. I do want to just let everyone know we do require a date of birth with our accounts. And some people do ask why that's required, and I just thought since we have so many of our partners on the webinar today, as I would let you know, is we require that because we can't have users under the age of 13 have an account, and that is within our, I believe, our terms of use in the footer of our website. And so that is why the date of birth is required when you sign up for an account. So I just thought I'd interject that while we were talking about signing up and what's required with that.
Thank you, Chelsea. I'm going to just click log in, and because I'm already logged in, it's not going to ask me for my username and password. It's just going to take me directly to the page that shows I'm logged in. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, it shows my name. That's how I know I'm logged in. It also shows me my dashboard, messages, bookmarks, resumes, skills and interests. So these are all things that I have access to once I'm actually logged in. I'm going to make this screen a bit bigger. Hopefully it shows up a little bit more prominently on your screen now. I hope that's okay for everybody. So when I click on my dashboard, it gives me a whole bunch of tools that are available to me. The thing that I want to show you right now is how to get to the resumes. And so I can either click here where it says resumes, or I can click here by clicking the drop-down by the dashboard and click resumes. So I'm going to click resumes. This will take me directly to the resume builder, which is powered by Optimal Resume. And this is my account. Now, I don't have my stuff in here because I do all of these demonstrations. So my actual resume isn't actually here. But I do have a lot of other things that are in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this Harper demonstration resume just to show you briefly, because I don't want to dive into too much detail here. But you can click on a section, and it will allow you to change the section. And as you can see, maybe you can see, there is a WYSIWYG panel right here where I can add bullets, I can bold, I can cross out, I can underline, I can italicize, I can add bullets, I can add a link, I can pick the color of my font, I can add a table. So I can do all of this stuff. And as I'm working on this, it gives me examples that I might want to use based on different section types. It also gives me action verbs that I can use. Now, I preach keywords all the time. Keywords, 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 because especially when you're using applicant tracking systems, you want those keywords in here. But it's also phenomenally important for you to use action verbs when you're talking about what you've done. So this gives you examples. And then you can put in a little info bite. And this is the coolest thing ever, because maybe you want that resume to be one page, but you want to tell a story. So you put in an info bite, and then you direct people to the online version of this, and they can see this little synopsis of what's going on with that little tidbit of information that you could only put one line on the resume. So I think this is just a phenomenal tool. Over here on the right-hand side, you can, once you're done with that, you can change the format of the header. You can change the style of the resume, spell check it, show the history of your changes. You can move the sections around by just grabbing it and dragging it. It's super, super, super useful because maybe you want to change your education to move up on the resume. While I don't personally recommend that, it's something that some other job description might value education over job experience more. So you would want to change that resume around. Now that's just one section. I can rename it, I can clone it, I can do all of those things with it. If I want to go back to the document center, I just have to click that document center in the middle of the page or at the top of the page, and I can get back to the document center to show you the letters. So if I want to create a new letter, I want to show you this up front. I'm going to do demo 4, and I can start a letter, but what I really want to do is I want to browse these samples. And what it does is it gives me, I want to do a follow-up letter, and I see samples of letters here. I decide I want to use a particular sample, and it gives me all of the language that's in there. I can use this sample, and then it fills in my details. All I have to do is fill in who it's going to, and then I can change the text in here. So this is a wonderful way to have half of the work done for you without having to reinvent the wheel. It saves it as you go, no matter what it is that you're doing with it, so it's a great thing. Now I've got a portfolio here. I'm going to show you. This is, oh, sorry, I just picked on something that didn't have any examples. So here I've got an example, and it has, I can upload a file for a website that I've created. I did not take this picture. This was a sample that was already there, but isn't that puppy cute? And so then you can add these things in here and have links to all of these descriptions, and then as you have built the portfolio, it can go up on your website at the end. Back to the Document Center, we have the assessments. I want to show you these assessments. When you look at the accomplishments, this is something that is super important for everybody to be able to do. And this is a little bit different than the assessment pieces that we use for the EPIC program and the skills assessments that are available through Illinois WorkNet and Employment 101. This is something a little bit more about how you would talk, how your customer would talk to an employer about these particular things. So a lot of times in an interview, somebody will say, tell me about a time when you needed to use critical thinking. So all they have to do is reflect back on what they typed in this particular item, and it's there. Now, I didn't type anything exactly. I just hit some keys. But the point is, they can potentially have this printed out and have it as in their folder about as they're talking, and just look down at it and take just a breath and then answer based on that little short snippet that they added. But these little short snippets also show up on the website that's created. So this is a phenomenal tool. I cannot say enough. Have I told you how much I love this resume building tool? You just can't talk enough about the opportunities that are available in here. If you don't want a particular skill in here, all you have to do is click on the box and remove it. If you want to delete a whole category, maybe you didn't have any courses in it, you can delete a whole category. or you can add a different category. Maybe it's a different line item column there that the tool hadn't thought of, but they've covered most of the items there that are available to you in your life history. The other thing that we want to look at here is the video resumes. So we have a video resume that shows, oh, there I am in my sweatshirt practicing, but it takes you through the different pieces. And I have an objective, I have qualifications, I have a closing, and I could actually have put pieces into the oh, I clicked on the same one. There we go. If I play it, you can see I'm trying to use a teleprompter, but right now it's talking and I don't have my computer speakers on, so you can't see. But what you can do is you can see right there I'm reading the script. If I just talk into the computer, you see what I'm saying and that I'm talking to the screen. So this is something that would require some practice, and you can go back and play with it and get it right before you actually select the one that would go on your website. And we have a website here that I've created. It asks me what do I want to put on there, so I can include resumes, which one, I can include portfolios, I can include the skills, I can include the video resumes. Maybe I write a letter that would be my cover letter for the website. That might be what people would land on, that cover page kind of letter. It's kind of like the About Me page that would be on a regular website. So you can use all of these items, and then once you go live, it takes you to the website, and you've got a link up here that you can use and put anywhere. So it shows you the portfolio, it shows you the skills, and if I hover over something, it will show me more. And then the video resume. It shows the piece that I actually wanted on there. All of this is available, and it's great, just great information. Now, the piece that I want to show you last here on this tool is the interviews. So if I go to a interview practice, it will give me some information. Now remember, my computer speakers are not on, but if I play the question, it's reading to me right now, then I would have my webcam on and I would talk into it, and then the last piece would be the resume coach telling me what my actual answer was. Now if I don't listen to it, it's written right here so I can actually read it. And as I go through each of the questions, the process is the same. Your customers can redo, 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 practice, practice, practice. Maybe the camera isn't the thing. Maybe they just need a person sitting behind the webcam so that they can be talking to the person, but the webcam is capturing what is going on as they're talking. That way they can then see what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they should potentially be doing, and you can coach them through all of that. All right, Chelsea, have I missed any questions that we need to answer on Optimal Resume before I move on to customer groups?
We did have two come in, Dee. Trudy says we use career summary for our resumes. I see you use an objective for their video resume. can we use career summary instead?
You can label the topics at the top of the video resume. You can label the topics anything that you want to label them. That was just something that popped up, and I just kind of like left it because I was playing with the tool more than I was playing with the words.
And then John asked a question, and we might not be able to go into as much detail, and I do want to let everyone know that we are planning some follow-up webinars that's going to go into actual training of using each one of the tools within the Optimal Resume, Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder. But John said, can you please clarify what you would put then under the skills if there was a job or internship you did? What would be appropriate? What would you put the job, dates, address? What specifically would be the most targeted information to put?
I'm assuming that there's no other employment besides the internship. I'm kind of how that leads to. But if this is something that it's brand new and it's just somebody coming out of college or out of high school and doesn't have any other experience other than the internship, try to get some life skills in there. But yes, I would put the information from the internship just as if it was a job, but then somewhere in that description I would make sure that the word internship was included. And I see a question here about from Fred about how does this deal with ATS issues and templates. Some ATS can't process templates. You can save any of the documents that are created as RTF, PDF, and Word. So depending on what the ATS system requires, then you can save your document to share out any way you want to. So if you want to create it in Optimal, save a copy to your computer, then you can have it in multiple formats for the same resume. Excuse me. Will employers be able to directly send messages to job seekers? If the job seeker has registered for the resume GPS, yes. If they have not, then no. All right. I see a couple other people typing. Is the resume builder, I'm assuming that's accessible, using a screen reader? I believe that it is. I have never tried that. Everything is, if you hover over everything, there is the alt tags. So I would assume that it is. The only challenge might be is the responses, the verbal responses to some of the interview practice things. Yes, you can clone your resume, have it available in all three formats. We are sharing information to the employers. It's not a piece at the moment that we are promoting diligently because I believe there is a fee for the employer to associate with that. How would you get the resume as a MS Word document? It's part of the, in the resume, let me go back to the Document Center. If I go to a resume, at the top it says download, and it asks me what format I want to download it in, Microsoft Word, PDF, HTML, or plain text. Yes, we are recording. All right, I'm going to move on now to the next piece, which is the customer group piece. We are going to have more webinars about each of these pieces. And remember that there are YouTube videos on each of the individual components so that these items, if somebody wants to find out more about the resume, I have I think it's maybe 9 minutes, video on just doing the resume. And then the other pieces each have their own video as well. I do see a question from Debbie Seeley about any tools to assist ex-offenders. The whole tool there is available to anyone who registers for an Illinois WorkNet account. So ex-offenders are welcome to use those. I don't know that there's any language specifically to help the ex-offender, but if you're in that arena, that would give you an opportunity to coach that customer with this next piece that we're going to be talking about.
Illinois WorkNet, I do want to interject the Illinois WorkNet team is working with Safer Foundation and one other organization to also get additional resources and tools specifically for ex-offenders and reentry workers on Illinois WorkNet. So that is currently something we're working on right now. So I'm glad you asked that. And so we're working with them based on resources that they have and ones that they're currently curating that they're going to share with us that we can share on our website to our partners and specifically to reentry workers or ex-offenders, depending on the audience of the resources that they have. So there's, like I said, Safer Foundation and then one other organization that we're working with. And so we're working with them now, and then once we have that available on the website, we will send that notice out to our partners to let them know what's available and where it's at and how you can access that.
Thank you, Chelsea. Okay, I am back at my dashboard, and I'm in a test account that Chelsea has. So this is back to my dashboard where you get to access as your account on Illinois WorkNet all of the different tools. So here, let me make sure that I'm big enough here as well, magnified. On this tool, and again, I just want to point out, you can get to the resume builder right here. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's wonderful. You can also get to Employment 101. So if any of your customers are not already using Employment 101, this is where they can access it along with the resume builder. So these are two great tools. Have I told you how much I love Optimal Resume Builder? Okay. Anyway, back to the customer groups. We want to talk about how to get there. So we go to our dashboard, and as we're on our dashboard, we scroll down here where it says Partner Tools. Then once we're on the Partner Tools page, then we just have to click on Customer Groups. And as you have access to different tools, those are available to you here. We want to actually find the customer groups. Now for my EPIC people that are on the call, this is the same place where you come to get to the EPIC tool if you log in through your page. We go to the customer groups, and it's thinking here for a moment, and you can create and invite people to groups. And Chelsea has in the file pod, it's the bottom document, and it says inviting customers. So that's the tool, or I'm sorry, those are the directions that you need to use to include people into a group. Now, for my EPIC people that are on this call, you already have this, what we're going to show you right now, available on each customer's profile. You don't have to come here because you see your customers in your EPIC group already, and you just have to click on the person that you want to review, and then you see exactly what we're going to show you next. We're going to click on this personal group for Chelsea Jones because she invited some people. And as you see here, we have the list of customers, and we're going to click on Chelsea Jones. I notice my name's not in there, Chelsea.
Could you maybe zoom in a little more since you have some more space on the screen?
Oh, yes, yes, I can. I thought it would zoom with me, but I apologize. I will do that right now. There, how's that?
Much better, thank you.
All right. Okay, so let me go back a screen. Let me go back a screen just to show you here a little bit more. So you'll land on groups, and then you see the different groups that are available. I'm sorry, I've got to go back one more screen. All right, so here's the groups. This is where we land, and I'm going to go to the personal groups for Chelsea Jones. It tells me how many customers I have in it. I'm going to click on personal groups, and this shows me the people that are in my group. And as I said before, Epic already took care of your groups for you so that we don't have to do this step. So we would go to Chelsea Jones' account, and as you can see at the top, it shows me what her profile looks like, her assessments. Now this is also available in Epic for you on the customer's profile. It shows you all of these different pieces. And then under the optimal resume, it shows you everything that the customer has done in the optimal resume program. And remember, it saves as you go. So it shows you the date that it was created, and it shows you the date that it was last updated. So Chelsea has some things in here that she was testing. You can tell she was testing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this by date last updated, and I'm going to have it run backwards. So this way you can get in here to look at what each of your customers has done to work on their resumes, especially if you've given them homework assignment to do. And maybe they're in the Career Center and they're working on something, and you're meeting with another customer and you send them in there to go work on something. This is how you can see what they've done. So now I want to look at what Chelsea did on this resume. And I'm going to look, and I've got 3 ways to look at it. So I can look at it on the web, which will open up to a new window for me. And I can share this out, so it'll give me the link to share it. Maybe I know an employer that wants to talk to Chelsea. How exciting would that be? So, excuse me, I can actually share Chelsea's resume out for her. I can print it using RTF, or I can print it using PDF. Then I can go to get an RTF version of whatever it is that I was looking at, and I can open it up with Microsoft Word. So it'll open up automatically. I can go in and make a couple of edits. Maybe I see something in the customer, just use the wrong word. One time I looked at my LinkedIn profile, and I do marketing, right? So I used the phrase guerrilla marketing in my profile, and I used the hairy mammal that lives in Africa instead of gorilla, G-U-E-R. So I noticed that, and it's like nobody had ever said anything to me. It was spelled right, but it just was the wrong word. So this way I could go in and make that correction and not have my customer embarrassed. Then I can also look at a PDF version, which it will open. If I tell it to open it, it will open it up right there. And so then I can see it that way as well. So this is really, really good, because this way I can go in, take a look, see what they've written, see what they've done. Have they sent out? Did I tell them about a job and ask them to send off their resume? Well, if they updated their resume, they would potentially save it as a test letter, or I'm sorry, the test letter might actually have Motorola Corporation cover letter. and I know that they at least created it. I can't tell whether or not they sent it, but I can tell that they created it. So this is just a great way for you to check to see what your customers are doing, how much they're using it, if they're using it. Then you can talk with them the next time you meet. What kind of response did you get from X, Y, and Z? Are you being successful? What did they say to you about this? How can you help that customer with what you're seeing on the screen? All right. I'm going to...
Now, Dee, I know this isn't specific to Optimal, but I do want to point out to everyone on the webinar that you do have also the ability to reset the password for your customer from if they're in your customer group. So we do run into this a lot. Either your customer doesn't remember their password or they don't remember the information needed to reset the password, like their secret answer maybe, or their email address is changed, or their account was maybe created in IWDS and they don't even know what their password was. And so you have the ability to just click that reset password button, and you're going to be able to type in a password right there and give it to your customer, and they can log in, and you can give that to them when you're working with them if they're a part of your group. And I think Dee really did cover this already, what the purpose of the customer group is, but it's really a tool for you to interact with your customer to see what they're doing on Illinois WorkNet. You can see the assessments tab is right there. So if they're completing the NOCD or the Employment 101, which includes the pre and post assessment, you'll be able to see that. And you can also send them a message via the customer groups. So this is a great way if you're working with a customer to interact with them, see what they're doing, and just keep track of their goals so far and making sure they're on track. And as all of you I'm sure already know, Illinois WorkNet is always updating and just moving towards bigger and greater things, so just keep an eye out. And, you know, there's always something new coming down the pipe.
All right. Frank asked a question about adding customers through the Epic dashboard. Frank, how about after the call, I give you a call and we can talk about what you're not seeing, okay? All right. All right, were there any other questions that we missed? Craig, we're hoping that you will be able to catch up on the recording. If you're having problems hearing, you can always dial in. We are at pretty much at the end of our demonstration today, but you can catch up on the recording if you missed something. I don't see any other questions that we may have missed. Yes, that is a great tool to be able to reset the password.
The one last thing I want to let everyone else know is if you go to my dashboard when you're logged in and you don't see the Partner Tools link, I did put this in the chat already, but go ahead and email info@illinoisworknet.com, and we will work with you to get your access level to partner level access, because sometimes when you create an account, you're automatically set up as an individual. And so if you're not seeing the Partner Tools option, you don't have the correct access. And so to do that, you can just email us and we'll work with you to get that updated fairly quickly. And then it's just a refresh of your screen once we've given you that access, and you'll have that Partner Tools link that's going to give you the link directly to the customer groups and all of that other information.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. We have a couple of questions here. It says, how do employers access your resume on WorkNet? They do not. They can, you can, like I said, create a resume on the tool builder, and put that resume on any place else, any of the online platforms, any of the sites where you would post a resume. So that allows you to use the tool, make it your workhorse to create those resumes, and then post those resumes anywhere and everywhere. Because we are not a job board, we are not a career builder or a monster, we don't have employers accessing the resumes. But like I said, use it, let them create it for you, or use that tool to build the best resume you can and then post it out anywhere and everywhere. Thank you, Paul. I agree with your comment. Have I said how cool the system is yet? Yay! Any way to see what employers are using Optimal on the hiring side? We don't have an employer side access for that. As I said, it is a paid-for tool, so we don't provide that access. Do you do on-site training for staffers of partner programs? We can talk about it, Paul. We can talk about it and maybe have an in-person something down the road somewhere. Is it possible to have both individual and partner access? Chelsea, can you answer that one?
I did respond. What I said was partners see the same tools and resources that individuals see. And so I'm not sure, Mary, if that was your concern. As a partner, you do have access to the Illinois WorkNet Resume Builder, and with that, you will see the same thing that individuals see. But if you do want to have a separate individual's account, you can set up a separate account, but you will have to do it with a different email address because you can only have one account per email address. So if that is something you're interested in, having two accounts, one partner level and one individual level, you just need to set up an individual account with a different email address and just make sure you don't email us about having access as a partner with that email address.
And then Kelly asked, when emailing individuals in your partner group, is there a way to email all members of the group at once, or must they be sent individually?
I think that is a one-by-one basis, but I'm going to look into that and see if it is a one-by-one basis, if we can add a button to message the entire group, because I think that would be helpful. So if that's not the way it's set up now, we will add that as an update down the road and let our partners know once that's been added. And if that is the case now, we will send out a notice to all of you to let you know that that is already an option and that you can do it that way.
I just changed, if you guys can keep typing here, but if you would please answer the poll questions here for us, I would appreciate it. The others, I'm going to change the, if you guys answered the last poll question, I want to change the way that the
Hi, Dee and Chelsea. This is Mark Burgess with the Department of Commerce. While you're trying to work that out, I just wanted to pass on a couple pieces of information. Hopefully everyone thinks this is helpful. It looks like the survey is showing that it was. We would like to have anyone else that is familiar with Illinois WorkNet and the offerings they have, if they think there's a topic that should be added to our WIOA Wednesday webinars that we could present in the same fashion as Dee did today, please let either Chelsea or someone at Illinois WorkNet or myself know of those topics so that we can work them in, we can consider them and then work them into the schedule in the future. Or if you, especially those from the local areas, if you have another topic that you feel needs to be added to the Wednesday webinar schedule, we're starting to try to fill that out for the next few months. So any indications from all of you as to what you think would be helpful would be great for us as we build that out. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. And like he indicated, if there's any topics you want to see in future webinars, email him. If you want to email info@illinoisworknet.com, we'll make sure they go to Mark. And I do want to address a couple questions that came in while he was talking, Kelly asked if you do message individuals, do they have to log into their Illinois WorkNet account or can it link to their personal email? You do have the option of sending it via WorkNet message only or via WorkNet message and email. So you do have the option of selecting via WorkNet message only or message and email. And I did check, and there currently is not a group message function. And so that is something we can put in the works. And the only thing I do want to point out with that is we'll put it on our list to do, and when we do that, we will send that notice out to all of our partners to let you know when it's available. And of course, we do our monthly partner TA webinars, and so once that's available, we'll make sure that's included in that next partner TA webinar. So I just wanted to make sure that Kelly, you saw the answer to the messaging. So you do have the option of selecting that, and that group messaging is currently not an option, but we'll make sure that that is included in our next update. And I see John also asked a question. I may have missed his answer, but were any employers or businesses involved in developing this, or did they provide feedback? John, this is actually a tool provided by Optimal Resume. This is a nationwide tool that Illinois WorkNet provides via a third party. So I can't speak to employers or businesses involved in the developing because this is a tool that's used nationwide. Illinois WorkNet itself was not involved in the developing of it. I'm sure that they have some information on their website that if you would like, we can find and send on to you.
And I just noticed that the second poll that says select all that apply is a one answer only. So if I change that poll now, I'll lose all of the answers. So I appreciate you pointing that out. It was my mistake, and I hope that you guys understand. I could change it right now, and you guys could all click all the answers again, but I don't want to make you have to do that. Remember, if you did not already download the files, you can click on those files and download them. They will open up to a new window. So if you need to come back to the webinar, please come back to the webinar. Thanks, everybody. It's 11:04. We want to be mindful of your time. We're done with the webinar, but you're welcome to stay in. We'll stay in the chat for just a couple of just a couple of moments to answer any questions that might pop up. So thank you, everybody. Have a great, great rest of your day.